We're finally back with the most expensive deck in the game, Blind Second 8-Axis, and I shelved this particular build for a long time because of tier being the most played deck for 4 months straight. And you can imagine how a deck that relies on going second and breaking boards with board breakers like Raigeki, Dark Hole, and Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, how that can be problematic when you've matched up against tier limit monsters that all trigger when you destroy them and send them to the grave. But now that the meta is more diverse and up in the air again, you can pretty much clear most dex boards, like assuming there's no FTKs. You can clear most deck boards with just combinations of board breakers and going second cards and kaijus, and probably OTK them too. So the game plan is pretty simple, right? Your opponent sets up a board. You let your opponent cook while you watch your YouTube video for like 10 minutes because this deck doesn't run hand traps. I prefer board breakers. I'll explain why no hand traps in a bit. But after your opponent full combos their board, then you just jam your going second cards, you jam your board breakers, your kaijus, and your huge statted monsters into the board, bait out negates, and then eventually you have a few options where there's 3 main pushes that this deck has. One is you can just straight up OTK them with Dragulion into Numeron Dragon. You are not going to Numeron Dragon into a clear board most of the time. You'd pretty much only do that if you draw a Raigeki, right? But most of the time you're OTKing with Numeron Dragon. You have Numeron Dragon, Dragulion, and you have another Xyz on the field, whether it be Mannequin Cat or another rank 8. Because Numeron Dragon gains attack equal to the combined ranks of all monsters currently on the field. So Numeron Dragon just by itself plus Dragulion puts at 9k. If there's just a Mannequin Cat on the field, it puts the amount of ranks on the field to 11, and then Numeron Dragon has 11k attack, and that 11k will pretty much OTK through anything you want, including any kaiju you give them. And you can imagine if you have a rank 8 Xyz as well, then the numbers get really preposterous. Like you're talking about if you like shrink Numeron Dragon, you would still not save you. Yeah, that's one way. That's one of your finishers. The other one is if you don't have the resources to really OTK through your opponent's board, you can still break it by summoning stuff like Dingirsu to bait out interruption. Then you can overlay into a Pain Gainer, and Pain Gainer you can detach material to kill every monster on the field who has less defense in it, and it gains 200 per Xyz material on the rank of Xyz on the field. So at minimum it has 2200 defense. So it'll kill everything that has 2200 defense or lower. That includes every single kaiju that you give them, because we run these kaijus with the lower defense in a pinch if you need to clear your own kaijus that you give them. And then you can overlay again into 7 Sins, which is just a 4k huge body that has destruction protection as well. And you mainly use it to just attack into anything. And then you can slap on a 4 material Zeus on top of it after clearing your opponent's board. And that's also extremely difficult for decks to get over because the Zeus is made after you already cleared their entire board and worked through their entire board. So they lost all their resources there, and then they have to play into a Zeus again. So that's the second push this deck can make. And the third one is we run Deep Sea DIVA. Deep Sea DIVA allows you every monster in here that's not DIVA, it's a level 8 monster. That's the namesake 8-Axis. So you have access to Baron, and you have access to Changing, which are the 2 best level 10 synchros in the game, and they synergize very well with the deck. Changing in particular, Changing with all the banish cards you have in between Desires and Gizmek, and in fact, you can do setup plays where even if you don't kill them, if you have a Changing on the field and a Gizmek access either in your hand or grave, you can chain Gizmek on your opponent's turn, and then just trigger Changing as a quick play interruption that way. Which is brutal because you're banishing all their shit, but also this thing probably has like 50 like 5k or more attack, and your opponent's monsters have no attack whatsoever. And another thing you can do with DIVA is go into Mannequin Cat, and Mannequin Cat can pretty much get you any level 8 monster from your deck. Ideally, you revive a dark monster, you can get Gizmek, and then Gizmek serves as 2 bodies. In fact, one Deep Sea Diva, if your opponent has 2 dark monsters in grave, one Deep Sea Diva is a 1-card 5300 access code talker, which is also very nice for OTKs because 5300 attack combined with almost any monster you can summon in this deck is also just game. It's over 8k. And Mannequin Cat is all you go into this card surprisingly often, almost as much as you go into your actual level 10 synchros that you use DIVA as a tuner for. Because anytime you summon Mannequin Cat, it pretty much makes Numeron Dragon game. It gives you a target with preferably low attack to attack into, but also just gives the aforementioned extra 2k attack boost by just being a rank 2 that exists on the field. So yeah, those are the main strategies of the deck. The card choices, I know it looks a bit wonky. The Deep Sea Diva is my normal summon of choice. Not saying this is the exact best one for the meta or anything, I just enjoy Deep Sea Diva because of its versatility, and I love Changing as a boss monster, and playing Changing control. Fun fact, you can even Dark Hole or Kaiju Slumber your own Changing and protect it just to trigger its Vanish too. You do that comes up quite often as well. And this is I've still yet to see a deck that abuses Changing as much as DIVA 8 axes. The Kaiju lineup is just 3 of these. We're not running Gamma Seal because Gamma Seal is actually... we want Kaijus with more attack, not less attack. Dogoran, for example, I'm not running Dogoran as a flex because it's a UR. I'm running Dogoran because it's optimal, because I can give my opponent... when I Kaiju Slumber my opponent, having max Dogoran means I can ensure I can give my opponent a Dogoran. And that means I can always summon Alpha while I control a monster on the field. So usually the way you use Slumber is you want to give your opponent the bigger Kaiju, so that way you can summon your Alphas, and you draw a line in this deck so you can draw into Alphas off of dangers or off of your draw card. So you always want the option to be able to summon Alpha. You don't want to give your opponent Godarla, and then while you have Dogoran, then you draw into an Alpha, and then this Alpha's dead. Godarla too, because it's a 2700, so that means it's bigger than Dingirsu, so oftentimes you can slumber your opponent, summon 2 level 8s, go into Ningirsu, clear a card, and then that still lets you summon Alpha later. So run the 2 highest attack level 8 Kaijus, Godarla and Dogoran. 3 Bigfoot, 3 Thunderbird, these are the only level 8 dangers. 3 Gizmek, it's obvious. 3 Alpha is obvious. Alpha is the best. Probably the best single level 8 monster in the deck. And the spell lineup I know is looking weird. It's a lot of random 2-ofs. So double Raigeki and double Change Heart. These are the strictly superior versions over Dark Hole and Mind Control. Do not ask why I have 3 Mind Control on my account and 2 Change of Heart when I'm only running 4 steel cards. Don't worry about it. Okay. The triple Trade-In and the triple Desires, these are the non-conditional draw spells. And furthermore, Trade-In is not even a once per turn, and Trade-In turns your dangers into removal spells. It also functions basically as a pot of greed because Kismet is a free discard off Trade-In. So you want to be running 3 and 3. 3 Kaiju Slumber is the best board breaker in the deck. It is vulnerable to Ash, unfortunately, but this clears the board and it gives you an extender, which is like, that's insane. 1 card board wipe plus extender, anytime you resolve Kaiju Slumber, you should pretty much have a way to game your opponent that turn. And So the double Lightning Storm and the double triple Tactics Talent, I'm only running 2 of these because these are you definitely do not want to see multiple of these. And I know it's bad logic to say, oh, you want to draw this some of the time, not all the time, but trust me, this deck, you draw a lot of cards. You have 6 essentially Pot of Greeds in your deck, Trade-in plus Pot of Desires. Then every single endangered monster you have also draws a card every time you successfully summon it and you don't American Sniper, your opponent doesn't American Sniper you. So, drawing into multiples of these is terrible. You don't want to draw into dead cards. You want it all gas, no breaks, right? You want your draw cards to draw into more ways to be able to play into your opponent's board. And drawing into multiple tactics, sometimes tactics isn't live, sometimes it conflicts because sometimes you want to kaiju your opponent to push your cards through, but then it makes triple tactics talent awkward because then they didn't, if you kaiju them, they didn't get a chance to trigger an effect, so it's kind of weird. This is most often it's triggered off your opponent ashing your cards. Lightning Storm is pretty much only good in your opening hand. If you draw into Lightning Storm off of a danger, that is the worst feeling in the world, because now this Lightning Storm is never going to be live anymore, and it feels bad, but again, you do want some kind of backrow removal just because you're blind seconding, and you don't know what kind of... There are backrow decks that do exist in the meta, such as Labyrinth. And that gets back to my point of why I'm not running hand traps, even Maxx. You could definitely run Maxx in this deck. I'm not going to say it's wrong to run Maxx. I'm never going to say it's wrong to run Maxx in any deck in the game. But, like I said, you have at least 6 draw cards here. You have your dangers to draw the cards, and you have triple Tactics Talent, which you tend to use the draw 2 cards in this deck more often than in other decks, just because your deck is all gas, no breaks. So the value of drawing just 2 live playable cards is often better than just stealing one of your opponents. But since you're drawing so many cards, drawing the hand traps as a blind second OTK deck is awful, because hand traps are the opposite of gas. They do nothing into an established board, and you're pretty much just as likely to see them, to draw into them during the course of your turn as you are to open them going second against your opponent's first turn. So they're just not really, in my opinion, consistent enough with all the draw cards and all the... Because you need multiple board breakers. You always need multiple cards to play into boards. And you want as many live cards as possible during your turn. Drawing multiples of hard ones turns is already bad enough, so like imagine adding potential hand traps into the mix, and then you just end up bricking yourself. So more often than the hand traps even help you. Also, the weird ratios on 2 Mind Control, 2 Dark Hole, this is it's kind of just to bump up the deck size count, because I don't know, I'm not smart enough to do the math. Maybe Ishan, McNabb, maybe you figured out how to do the 8-axis Gizmek math, but 43, like the consistency hit difference from going from 40 to like 43 or 44, it's not really that big. It's not that much of a tangible difference. Well, what is a tangible difference is getting 1 extra activation of Gizmek, or getting 1 extra activation of Pot of Desires. And I guess when I went to 40, there's just plenty of times where I was like 1 card short of a second Gizmek activation, or 1 card short of a second Pot of Desires activation. So I figured that I bump it up a little to see if I can get more activations of these cards. But I don't know what the optimal amount for the optimal deck count for that kind of math yet. So this is just like me kind of throwing shit at the wall and seeing which number feels the best, as unscientific as that sounds. Well, yeah, that's the main deck. The extra deck, most of this I already went over. The Mannequin Cat, the Hope Harbinger, you almost never summon this. Like you almost never hard make this, especially since this is a negate and you're going second deck, and you don't really care about spell cards if you're just killing them that turn. This is the most expensive material that you attach underneath Numeron Dragon with Dragubia. You don't even need this number 38 Hope Harbinger. You can use literally anything to attach under Numeron Dragon, and it won't change the deck, how the deck plays at all. But I assume if you're playing this deck, you already have enough UR credit to slurs, as you can tell from just looking at the screen. So, you know, you should probably already have a Hope Harbinger anyway. So, yeah. And number 90 Galaxy Eyes Photon. This is just a negate. So, when you OTK, right, when a deck needs to OTK, right, they need to play around the existence of Bestials. So the way this deck OTKs, as I mentioned, does not interact with Bestials at all. You either just punch over a big monster with Numeron Dragon to where you don't even attack the Bestial. You have Baron and you have Chang on the field, which Baron just negates the Bestials, and Chang, the moment a Bestial gets summoned, it gets banished. So bye bye. And this is just yet another way to play around hand traps and Bestials, because this is just a monster negate. But you don't really end up summoning this too much anyways, because like again, Numeron Dragon already plays around Bestials. This is like playing around a secondary hand trap if you're afraid under Maxi, like a Baylor or something. Yeah, Dingirsu, Dragubian, Zombie Vampire, very important. This is an important extender that allows you to get the big Numeron Dragon if you don't have access to DIVA for Mannequin Cat. You make Zombie Vampire, you mill. It makes so you can have a 17k Numeron Dragon with only 3 level 8 monsters instead of needing 4 for 2 XCs. Because this, you turn 2 level 8s into this, and then this gets you another one for free, and then the 3rd level 8 turns into the 2nd XCs, which is Reglubion, to OTK your opponent. And also you take your opponent's monsters. If they have a level, you can just overlay them onto this. Mind Control, Change of Heart, Triple Tactics, good stuff like that. And over Pain Gainer, Seven Sins, and Zeus. Dark and Unicorn and Access Code. This is the 1 card Access Code package I mentioned when your opponent has 2 Darks of Deep Sea Diva. So yeah, enough rambling. Let's get into the game. So we begin with one of the hardest matchups in the game for this deck. Naturia, aka Nat Beast Turpin. Just look at my hand. If my opponent makes Nat Beast, I'm screwed. And you might be thinking, oh, you run 6 Kaijus, right? Just draw a Kaiju, just draw the outlet now. Well, the thing is, if they know what they're doing, and you see Camellia has this line of text that says, if your opponent, thank you game for the animation. If your opponent normal or special summons a monster, you can special summon a monster from your graveyard. So if they control Nat Beast plus the Camellia, the moment I Kaiju the Nat Beast, the Camellia just brings it right back. Like it is dreadful playing against this deck most of the time, because you're going second all the time, right? Obviously, so you're letting them set up their board first, and their board consists of a Floodgate for half my deck. Fortunately, my opponent makes Baron, since Naturia Beast is not a guaranteed end board a lot of the time. Baron is a lot more common for Runick Naturia, and Baron's a lot more doable. And our opponent Maxx sees me. You might be thinking, of course, full combo Maxi with a Baron negate up, so I can't negate the Maxi. Well, I don't give a damn about this Maxi. I know I'm playing Runick Naturia. They don't have room to run any hand trap besides possibly Ash. And this deck, my hand OTKs through an Ash easy. So I'm just like, this Maxi does not matter. They just loop the card out of their hand for free. Thank you. So Archer, I'm gonna pop Desires, and they're gonna Baron negate that. So that tells me they also don't have Ash right now, because they would definitely Ash Desires over spending their Omni negate on the Desires. So now my next priority, after baiting out the Baron negate, my next priority is going after the Runick Fountain, because the Runick Fountain keeps them alive. Even if they have crappy Runick spells, right? They can just continuously summon Runick monsters into their EMZ to chump block, and they'll never die, and they'll recover their resources. So I'm trying to go after this next, trying to get Runick cards out of their hand. So we go by trade in, dump Thunderbird, target their back row first. It's Blessing. Well, get it out of the way now instead of during the battle phase where they can chump block it. So here comes the Camellia, and then they can do their Naturia stuff, send Sacred Tree, add a Blessing, but whatever. There's not going to be a next turn. Activate Trade-In, dump Bigfoot, and I'm going to target the Fountain. This will force out a Runick spell, and they go for Dispelling for the hand. They don't go Dispelling Summon Hugo and Protect Fountain. That's a strange move. So they decide to randomly leave the card in my hand, and we have the TTT. So I don't give a damn about the Baron. I don't give a damn about the concept in your hand. I need to draw more gas. So TTT, draw gas, interrupt the Kaiju Slumber, give them Dogoran and Gadarla. I summon Alpha and go into Zombie Vampire. I know this will trigger their Naturia Mole Cricket, and when they trigger Mole Cricket, they can get the Sunflower out. But we have to change the heart, so I can take the Sunflower. Now free to activate Zombie Vampire. All I have to do is know a level 8, which of course I'm going to do. My dex has tons of level 8s. Then special summon those second Dogoran from my hand, go into Dragoon, and Numeron Dragon is going to OTK them. Numeron Dragon's going to have 17k attack because we have 2 level 8, or 2 rank 8 Xyz on the field. So, yeah, just to take the Maxi challenge every single time. So I'm not gonna lie, a couple of these next duels tilted the fuck out of me. Because you know my deck doesn't run hand traps, right? So our opponent goes Kashtira Unicorn for Burf. Burf's summon Ascendant of Thunder, go into Galactic Tomahawk. It's one of these games. It's one of these games. Okay, so here's the problem with playing this deck and why I don't want to. I enjoy playing this deck, but not for too long periods of time, because my opponent can do just whatever random bullshit they want. Like, what the hell is this? Why is there a Decode Talker Hitso in the middle of your Tomahawk combo? Why are you going to Saruya Skeldred to draw into 4 cards? Oh, and there's punks in here too. Of course, there's punks. So, meanwhile, I'm sitting here over like 5 minutes real time. I'm not really being able to do anything. Just watching my YouTube videos on the side and responding to comments. They're about a third of the way through their combo at this point. Jam Dragon Drive, okay. The shark, bring back the Shark Kuzai, of course. Summon the Jirori Punk, Madame Spider, get the Search, summon back the Unicorn, go into Baron the Floor. Skeldred, summon back another Unicorn set too. Okay, so they spend about 10 minutes of real time for a board that loses to double Dark Hole. Yeah, Maxi. Oh no. Anyways, Dark Hole number 1. Get negated by Baron. Okay. Well, first I'm gonna desire to see what I draw. Man, you drew that many cards. You couldn't even draw Ash plus Maxi. Nice deck. Trade in one of the Gadarlas. Dark Hole. I see I drew a Bigfoot, so I'm just gonna Dark Hole the field the second time. Okay, bye field, bye, and special summon Danger Bigfoot, and this is game on board because you paid 7k life points, 7k life points to end on 1 negate. Dog, what is you doing? Like, oh no, what is you doing, lil bro? I have to say to all my Rikka Sunavalon plant enjoyers, look away from this match. I apologize for my opponent's about to do. How much my opponent's about to butcher this Rikka combo. Jess, if you're watching this, look away for like 5 minutes real quick. And also, this guy, Mr. Cyber Dragon, took more time than the Kashtira P.U.N.K dude. More time. I legit looked at the clock. I was like, we're approaching 10 minutes of like I finished watching my video and this guy was still comboing. And well, what are they doing? Like, okay, here's the glamour at the okay. Here's the you are plant locked. I believe you are plant locked. Okay, at the Disc Coliseum, Tribute. Mardell, what the hell is this? Add Lonefire Blossom. Go into Rikka Queen. Where's the... Yeah, the classic Borea search Regulus after being plant locked can't summon Mardell to search, no interruptions. So first of all, this board is trash. Even if I wasn't playing a blind second deck, this is like 2 interruptions. This is like not even. This is 1 teardrop interruption. Like what the hell is this? So anyway, they're gonna get slumbered, and you can protect your link monsters all you want, but it's not gonna protect all of them. And then I'm just gonna end this quickly. Nothing fancy. Double board breaker Raigeki, summon Dragluvion into an empty board. Their turn took 10 minutes to finish. My turn took 30 seconds to finish. Yu-Gi-Oh! So we started off with the worst match for this deck. This is the best match for this deck. This is the equivalent of me just kicking a coughing baby. Everyone's playing pure Kashtira. None of that punk stuff, just straight up Kashtira. And they didn't even open Fender. So they're gonna get Ogre for preparation. This preparation is gonna do nothing this entire game. They go into Shangri-Era. Shangri-Era for Fender. So we're gonna start with Slumber, and they have Ash. If they did not have Ash, they would have died this turn. Like, straight up. We have double Change of Heart Mind Control. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to settle with just Mind Change of Heart in the Kashtira Fender. Activating Thunderbird, ditching that's the best feeling in the world. Thunderbird, discard Gizmek, draw into Desires. Like fucking chef's kiss. We draw 2. Opponent's gonna Kashtira Birth target the Gizmek, which we will just chain because you know this deck does not care about any graveyard interruption really. And then our opponent's gonna block 2 zones, which is gonna trigger our Fender, so that forces them to flip up their Dogmatica Punishment. Thinking. Dogmatica Punishment. Hit the dump the Intis to pop their own Fender, and then Intis pops the Thunderbird. So I'm gonna TTT, draw 2 cards. Yes, thank you. thank you. That's exactly what I needed. Double interrupt the Kaiju Slumber after I already activated it, and hard once per turn, by the way. So yeah, it's okay because we have Change of Heart, so we can Change of Heart, take this Shangri-Era, get in for some damage, and go into Zeus. I'm gonna hold off on the Zeus. I wait for my opponent to activate Birth first in case they have a second one, because Birth is a hard once per turn, I believe. So yeah, they're gonna activate Birth. I'm gonna chain Zeus, get rid of everything. We're gonna Nadir Servant for a second Intis to pop my Zeus. Thinking. And normal summon Dogmatica Ecclesia to get a second punishment. And this is I'm sorry, is there something that prevents you from going battle phase? Is there a District on Nadir Servant? I don't think so, right? Okay, well, anyway, we should be at 6,500, but whatever. Slumber is still live, by the way, after Desires plus Gizmek, so that's clutch. Summon Thunderbird, ditching the Alpha. We're gonna go into Dingirsu. Dingirsu just counters Punishment because Punishment will you can just detach off Dingirsu to protect from destruction. So yeah, buy Diablosis. And send that away. Go into Gizmek, special summon itself back. Mind control the Dogeron. And go into Dragluvion. And this is a clear board. I wasn't even gonna make Numeron Dragon. I was gonna overlay into Pain Gainer into the seven Sin Spider and just attack directly. But yeah, you literally you almost cannot lose against pure Kashtira because you're playing a deck with that's like 50% fucking board breakers and kaijus and stuff. And not to mention most of your monsters are even bigger than the Kashtira monster, which is like one of the few advantages. And the Diablosis is like, what? They're gonna take out your Numeron Dragon, your Dragoon. Okay, well they're still gonna lose the Zeus. They take Zeus, they're gonna get OTK'd. So yeah, enjoy. This is the freest matchup in the game. So going forward, I feel like this deck is only gonna improve because what looks like the next possible keyword possible meta changing deck is purely, however the hell you pronounce that. And that is a deck that at full power it sits on a large towers that's can be kaiju'd. So yeah, and that's assuming it gets all the support though. Like we're not even sure if we're getting even all of the support, and if we don't get all the support for purely, that might not even be a relevant deck for the next month or so until it gets its second wave of support. And then looking ahead beyond that, if Kashtira gets a Rise Heart, Kashtira is going to be a more played deck. Kashtira is one of the easiest matchups in the game for this deck, and a Rise Heart loses to pretty much any card, every single card in this deck. So, you know, I'm not saying this is a good investment or anything. This is a hella expensive investment, but this will retain value for a while, looking ahead to the near future.